We've now learned how to get the results for frame forces into a new worksheet. But what if we make adjustments to our model and we want to get new results and compare them to the previous ones? Let's see what happens when we try to do that with our existing code. Okay, so what happened here? Basically, when we tried to add a new result worksheet, we tried to add it with the same name as the previous one. This creates an error in VBA that we can't really catch using any of our previous methods. So now, we'll be briefly exploring another one of VBA's features: error handling. We need a way to create new worksheets with variations of the same name. But the only way we can do this is to try and get a worksheet with that name and see if it exists. If it does not exist, VBA will give us an error message and prevent us from executing any further code. Sometimes, when executing code, we might come across some errors that we expect to happen but have no way to prevent. In our case, we're guaranteed to encounter errors when trying to add new worksheets to our workbook. With error handling, we're able to catch these errors and prevent them from stopping the execution of our code by defining what behavior VBA has, should it encounter an error that would prevent it from going further. The first thing we'll do is create a new function called SheetNameExists that will return a true value if a sheet with the provided name already exists and a false value if it does not exist. We'll define a temporary worksheet object. Then, we'll write onErrorResume next. This should be quite self-explanatory, but, essentially, this specifies that on an error occurrence, the program will simply ignore it and continue onwards to the next line without crashing and ending the code execution. Next, we'll try to assign the worksheet object to the worksheet with the name that we provided. This is why we need to alter the error handling temporarily. If we don't tell the code to resume execution on error, when we try to assign our temporary worksheet and it does not exist, VBA will give us an error and end the execution or give us the option to debug the code. Okay, next we'll check to see if the worksheet has been assigned. Then, we'll free our temporary worksheet object. And we'll set the error handling to normal again by typing onError go to 0. This resets the error handling to normal again. Okay, now we need to alter our previous function to add a worksheet with a custom name. We'll declare a loop variable and a new name variable. This new name variable will take the base name and add a hyphen plus a numeric value in front of it. The numeric values will start at 1 and will increment sequentially, in case there is already a worksheet by that name. We'll loop using a while cycle that starts with a do keyword. We'll set the new name variable with the name that we provided, plus the hyphen and the numeric value. Then, we'll end the cycle with the loop while keyword and we'll call our SheetNameExists function. This will make it so our function cycles until an available name is found and then adds a worksheet with that name. A couple of remarks before we move forward. First, note that we used a while cycle as opposed to a for cycle because we don't know beforehand how many cycles we'll need, and the check is best performed at the end of a cycle. Second, it is customary to name functions that return Boolean values as a statement that can be read as either true or false. Think of it as asking the code a question, in our case, if a sheet name exists, and the answer will be true. And, if a worksheet with that name does not exist, it will be false. Okay, let's just check to see if we can now add new result sheets like we wanted. Great, we can now create as many result worksheets as we want to. Let's quickly also get some results for the area objects as well as the section cuts. We'll be speeding up the coding of both functions as these will be very similar to the export frame results. We'll call them export area results and export section cut results to get the area and section cut result data respectively. And let's check that we can also get the results of areas and section cuts. Great! We can now get results for frames, areas, and section cuts that we defined previously. Now, notice that we got results for all section cuts, even though we can't select section cuts directly. This is because we use the section cut GetNameList function, which is similar to the getSelected function that retrieves the names of the selected objects. Okay, to finish our results exercise, let's add a final button to erase our result worksheets. Obviously, we don't want to go around manually erasing worksheets. So, let's add a button and a new macro called Clear Results in our Worksheet Utils module. This will be quite a simple function. We'll need a variable for the worksheet object. Then, we'll cycle all worksheets in our workbook by using the for each cycle. This specific for cycle iterates through every item in any array we give it, without having to worry about managing an index variable. So, we'll say that for each worksheet of the current workbook, if its index is greater than 1, we'll delete it. Using it this way means that in every cycle, the current worksheet in the worksheet array will be automatically assigned to our variable. Oh, right! Before and after each cycle, we should also disable and enable the Excel alerts. If we don't do this, we'll be prompted to confirm that we want to delete each and every result worksheet manually. And we obviously don't want that. We'll set the application display alerts property to false before we cycle the worksheets. Then, we'll re-enable them after the for cycle by setting it to the default true value again. And let's just free our worksheet object to make sure we don't have memory leaks. We're not worrying too much about this in our code in general, but it's a good practice nonetheless. Especially when dealing with macros that will stay running for a very long time. Alright, let's just test it out and we'll be done for the results section of our course. Great! We've progressed a lot here. We're now able to run an analysis on our model and get relevant results from SAP 2000 and output them into new result worksheets. We can also delete any result worksheets from our workbook with a simple press of a button. You should now have all the fundamentals of not only working with the SAP 2000 API, but also how to use VBA in connection with Excel in a decently adept fashion. We could stop here, and you're free to do so. But, if you're up for it, we can do a final short exercise to add an interesting feature that SAP 2000 doesn't provide users at the moment. In the next and last section of our course, we'll be adding a custom core to our building template. We'll be providing the option to specify core placement, cell number, and cell dimensions, as well as clearing up any previously placed objects that interfere with the core placement, also taking into account its total dimensions. Let's get started in the next section.